What's up, guys? It's Jake, and we're here for our third and final video on the hyper-personalized cold email system. You're looking at the personalization to instantly part of the system. What this is going to do, it's going to send your leads that you have first found the companies for, and then scrape to the decision makers for. And then from there, you're going to pass that through a flow that's going to scrape the website for the business. It's going to summarize that website, and it's going to create a personalized email based off that summary and based off who this person is in that company. And it's going to tie it into your offer, service, or product, or whatever you're trying to sell them. And it's going to be able to do that at scale, and it's all going to be done automatically. And so just to give a recap of where we left off, we started with the target company. That's going to find your essentially companies that you want to work with. And then we found the decision makers in those companies, just to reiterate Jesus. And now we are on to that final part. And I'll start with just summarizing how this final part works. Take a look at each of these nodes, and then I'll build it with you step by step. And so first we're going to start over here on the get rows and sheets. This is going to work the same way as the previous get rows and sheets, where we basically just say, hey, I need to put this content into my workflow. That's all it's there for. And then we're going to go over to the loop over items, and the loop over items is going to basically split each of those items into individual items, opposed to being a blob of, how many, 37 people. It'll then make it 37 individual items, and it'll run each of those individual items through this entire workflow. And in this workflow, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to scrape the company site. And then we have multiple filters built into this part for essentially, hey, if it doesn't work, for some reason we can't load the site, it goes into this branch. If for some reason the domain no longer exists in terms of they haven't renewed it or anything like that, then we're going to flow into this branch. And then we're also, after that point, we're going to turn the HTML. We're going to turn the HTML into content. And after that point, we're going to say, okay, is there actually any content in this HTML? If there's no content in this HTML, then we're going to go out into this branch as well. And each of these branches is just essentially updating that person and saying, hey, this website doesn't work, this part of the flow didn't work, or the other part of the flow didn't work. And so we'll be able to see where it failed. And the failures aren't really a big deal, since when we're dealing with such large data sets where there's sometimes thousands or even tens of thousands of companies and people in that data set, if we have a few that are just invalid or aren't working or just broken for one reason or another, it's no big deal, and we don't have to really scrutinize those and worry about it. And so we'll just pass through them and filter them out so the rest of our workflow can continue to actually work on the items that are true. I guess, I don't know, I'm kind of working slow today, so excuse the slow brain, because I cannot think of words, but you guys get what I mean. So then we go to the set node here, and this is just going to make each of these, it's going to basically make them callable by first name, last name, whatever, downstream, so it'll be easier to access that information to make sure that we're getting the same lead for each of our items. And then we're going to split out each of those to make sure that they're all separate, because when we get the websites specifically, the links for those websites are going to also come in a blob. So we got to resplit those, and then we have to normalize them. That's what this code node's going to do. It's going to make sure that if there is an HTTP, if there's some sort of weird formatting, that it's always coming out as HTTPS. The reason why is because if it's not HTTPS, that this node downstream has a much more likelihood of failing. And then we're going to filter, that's what this is for, just making sure that, hey, everything that is split out of here, because you will get some stuff that's split out that isn't going to be HTTPS, and so we will only split out the HTTPS. And then we're going to move any duplicates, and so if there's multiple different pages on the site that, let's say multiple buttons lead us to the same page, we're going to make sure that we're not getting 4 or 5 of the same page, right? And then we're just going to limit it to 3. And more often than not, 3 is plenty fine. You can increase the number of pages that you're scraping or, searching or whatnot. But 3 seems to work pretty well. And so if you use any more, you're just going to use more data in ChatGPT and in N8N. But if that's no big deal to you, feel free to throw more in. And then this is going to go to each of the links and specifically run for each link. It's going to turn it into Markdown, which just basically means that it's now usable data for us to put into the ChatGPT, which is going to summarize our web pages. And then we're going to aggregate those summaries. And then we're going to wait a bit just to make sure our flow doesn't get overloaded. And then we're going to go to our multi-line icebreaker generator here. And this is going to create an icebreaker for the email. So it's basically just going to make the entire email, and you'll see what the output looks like at the end of this. And if that fails for some reason, that's what this is for. It's going to make sure that it flows through to another one that's going to do the same exact thing. Because for whatever reason, sometimes ChatGPT just gets overwhelmed and it tends to fail. And so this is just to make sure that if it does fail, hey, we still are good to go. And then we're going to go to the set node here, which is going to basically normalize the ID and and the icebreaker message. We're going to update our Google Sheets with those. We're going to post them to Instantly, which is our service. And so if you guys haven't used Instantly before, you can feel free to download a link in my bio that I believe should give you some sort of percentage off. If it doesn't, my bad. At least you are still going to the right website. And it's like $1,000 a year or something like that to run Instantly. And it allows you to do something like 25,000 or 50 emails per month for that level, which is, quite a bit. We shouldn't need any more than that unless we're selling this as a service and we're going to be blocking multiple clients together. And then so lastly, we're going to go to the lead and campaign here. Basically just updates it, said, hey, yes, this is added to campaign. So we're not going to process the same lead twice. All right, cool. Now let's jump right into it. Let's see. And I'm going to go out up here. And then you'll see I actually started this before, and I'm just going to redo it in this guy right here. So we're going to start with the get rows and sheets, and then we're going to go to our sample data, and we're going to go to people and sample data. Filter is going to be under, should be added to campaign. And if you remember from the previous one, it's going to be the same system where we say, okay, make sure the added campaign is empty. If it's empty, filter, push those leads in. I'm going to go to loop over. All right, and then from there, we're going to make an HTTP request. And this is, all right, back at it. I had to grab a mochi, whatever. So we left off on the HTTP request. And so this one's going to be pretty easy. And I'll just run these previous nodes so that we can get to where we need to be. Here it is. You just go there, put that website URL in the URL, and it is going to be get this time because we're getting the website. And then I'm also going to add an option, which is basically just going to add redirects so that if the site, have you ever seen when you type in something and it might not be the correct website, but it does take you to the correct website anyways? That's the redirect. Side note, this is ube mochi. It's like purple. It's like some sort of sweet yam potato mochi. And it is fantastic. I'm not a big sweets guy, but super good. That was great. So what we're doing here is we're just giving it some retries on fails, just in case for whatever reason it doesn't go through. It'll retry 3 times, and then it'll also continue using the error output if there is an error. And all these filters are actually going to be super easy to do. So we're just going to do update sheet, update row. I hate when I click that button. Sample database, people. And we're going to match by ID. So for this one, let's see. Oh, the problem with the arrow is that you're not going to be able to fetch the input data over here on the left. Oh, actually I lied. I'm a liar. Wait, yep, there it is. That's because I had table, and there's no data in the table. So we don't need any of this. We can just delete all this. Icebreaker. And this one we're just gonna do website fail. Website fail. Website fail. Cool. This basically is that, hey, we failed to load the website, so we're just going to restart the flow with the next item. And then we're going to go over to the if node here. And this if node is basically going to check to make sure that this website is an existing website, right? They don't have to renew anything. So what we're looking at here is that the JSON data, and it's looking to match expired, pending, renew your domain. If the website has anything like that on it, would be a very strong indicator that the website is no longer valid and needs to be renewed. And so we just want to filter all those out, and we're going to do number is greater than, and then it'd be 0. So essentially, if they find any of these matches, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, however matches they found. But if the website has none of this, there's a very good chance that it is that it exists. And so if it's false, we're actually going to do this. You can just copy this node right here because it's already mapped correctly. And the only thing I like to change this node domain. Node domain, because this just tells me where it failed. So it doesn't help you really. I just like to know where my different websites failed, and it also lets me know when I'm looking at my sheet that these filters are working, right? Because then I can see that, okay, some items definitely pass through into this node, some items definitely pass through into this node. Well, I'm sorry guys, I should probably also rename these nodes. Download the website. Rename website fail. Rename no domain. Rename domain exists. Okay, cool. And now we're going to go to the extract HTML content. And for this one, to be honest, don't ask me why it is this way, except for keys. Keys is links because it's feeding into links. I don't really know what any of this means. This is just how I was taught to do it, and I know it works like this. And so since it works, you know, I would love to understand it. I just haven't taken the time to look up why each of these is. To my understanding, it's got something to do with that is like the form of HTML that's being fed in. But I'm definitely not 100% certain on that. Anyways, just copy that because that is going to work for this flow. And we can understand it later. So I'm going to continue to execute this. Oh. Is. Oh. Right. Is equal to 0. That'll work just fine. So we actually want is equal to 0 will have the same effect, because if it's not equal to 0, that means there's data here. And now we get to go to this guy right here. See, it breaks up all the different websites. We had this, and now it breaks it into all this. And now we're going to put our last code node in. Excuse me, not code node. If node. The last code node's coming in soon though, so be prepared. So this one's gonna be a bit complicated. You're basically gonna say array is array, and then you're gonna say the JSON. That's not the $sign. Oh, hang on here. Sorry, we're expecting a guess, just making sure they weren't there. And so with this, get a little bit closer. So where do I leave off? Yep, JSON.links, because we're looking to see if this JSON.links item is an array. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Again, where we leave off. Ampersand, ampersand, and then $sign. JSON dot links dot length is equal to 0. So all this means is that it's looking at the array of JSON links and it's saying, is this array of links equal to 0? And if that is false, then we continue with the flow, because that means there are links that exist in this part right here, which we can see they are. And so we'll see that true is where we fall. And then we could do the same thing right here, copy paste, because all the mapping is going to be the same. And wire that to there. Change this to no links. Sweet. Now, most of the filtering is done, pretty much all of the heavy lifting with filtering. And now I'm going to do the set node, but the set node I'm actually just going to copy and paste from another flow because it would take some time to fill out each of these individual boxes. And just to show you guys what was in them, so it's first name, last name, email, website URL, headline, phone number, links. And this is the important one, right? Because that's going to contain this array right here. City, state, country, ID, organization name. You can name these whatever you want, and then you just get the root from, the get rows and sheet module earlier that you can find right here. You can just drag and drop them in, and you're good to go. And now you can add more fields to normalize, but I find that it doesn't really help, right? Those are the only fields we need. Those are the only fields that I care about personally. And so if you care about more than those fields, feel free to add more. And then we split them out, basically meaning, okay, now we have all of these links right here. And if I think I'm right, yep, it's just links. All right, cool. And you don't have to do what I did here where I include all other items. There it is. Because all we really care about is this part. But it's fine. I include them anyways. And then the code node, another node that I'm not going to walk through of how it's all built. I'm just going to show you guys what the content is. The reason why is because it would take some time to do this, and no one wants to sit in front of a video for 2 hours. So it's basically saying that it's looking at the input of all items, and it's going to sanitize those host names by trimming different parts of the URL that may not be eligible to go into the HTTP. And it's going to normalize those, and it's going to return nothing in the event that it finds one of these, so that it normalizes it to have this specific HTTPS opposed to just HTTP. And then the rest of this kind of just goes along with that same thought pattern. And I used pretty much ChatGPT to make all of this because, like I've said before, I don't really know code, right? I know a little bit just as a proxy of building these workflows, but definitely not a JavaScript guy by any means. So if I can do it, you guys can totally do it. So in short, do not let the code nodes intimidate you. I know they're kind of big and scary, and when you look at them, you don't really understand what's happening, and so you're a little nervous that maybe something's going to go wrong in it, and you're not going to know how to fix it. Especially if you're selling this product to clients, when something goes wrong in the code node, that's a point that could cause some anxiety. And this next one is going to be the filter, and we're just going to add JSON.links in here. And that's going to basically grab the links from right here, and it's going to make sure that it starts with HTTPS. Execute. And then we're going to remove duplicates. Remove duplicates right here. Okay, so just in the current execution, and it's going to, let's see what fields. That should be fine. All right. You see we started with 222. Now we're down to 89 items. And then we're going to limit to 3 because we're just going to grab 3 of these items that are the links. And then we're going to add the HTTP node. And this HTTP node is going to be really simple because we normalize this early in the flow with the set node, where you just say JSON.links. And you're good. That's it. You can do retry on fail, or you can do, redirects. Doesn't really matter. Shouldn't really be a problem at that point because you've already got the root domains and the root URLs. So you should be able to grab this and sweet. That's exactly what we're looking for. Now this is a bunch of gobbledygook that we as humans can't really understand, at least non-technical humans that don't know how to look at this stuff. But what does understand it is Markdown. So you have to convert this to Markdown. And you're just going to go. You can do that. You can do that. But what works better is if you go JSON.data, $, JSON.data, quote, less than sign, whatever the heck you call that thing, greater than sign, empty, less than sign, div, greater than sign. So what this does is that basically says, hey, if this JSON is good, perfect. That's what we'll use. But if it's not, which is the question mark, then we're going to basically say this JSON is div empty div. And then we can use that basically, or I would say we can't use that, but the large language model is going to use that and say, okay, this information is empty, so I know to ignore it because it's already built into the ChatGPT that it should ignore that kind of data. And now we're getting to the main part. So we're going to go ChatGPT, OpenAI, message a model, and let's see. The model is kind of up to you. 4.0 latest works great, 4 works great, 4.0 is fine. 4.1 works good too. If you want the best, 5 latest, 5 mini. I'm going to use 5 mini today because it's cheap. And then you just tell it something like, which is this is going to be system. You're going to say, you're helpful, intelligent, website scraping assistant. So this, when you put a system, essentially just defines the role. And then we're going to make a user. And for the user, I'm just going to copy and paste my old prompt because it'll take a little bit to work out. But basically says you're provided a markdown scrape of the website. That's this right here. Your task is to provide a 2-paragraph abstract of what this page is. Return this in JSON format. Abstract. Your abstract goes here. Rules, your extract should be comprehensive. Similar level of detail in an abstract to a published paper. Use a straightforward Spartan tone of voice. If it's empty, just say no content, which is why we put that empty thing back there before. Stumbling all over my words today. And then this is going to be $, JSON.data, because it's going to be the content. Output content is JSON. And I think that's it. Cool. Easy enough. And then we can execute it and see what happens. You know, why this loads, I should mention, this is the first time we're seeing ChatGPT. You do have to have an OpenAI account that you get the API access with. You can make that through this thing right here, you know, where you enter your API key and your base URL. And really, it's pretty easy to set up. If you guys need help, just feel free to message me. I'm happy to just give you a comment to give you some direction or make a quick video on how you actually do it. Sweet. So look at this. We got 3 items because we had 3 websites that we fed into here. And we got the summary of each of these pages. Look at this one. This page is a homepage for KKBC, an international digital marketing agency focused on simplifying and scaling B2B technology businesses. This page is the homepage of international digital marketing, focused on blah, blah, blah. So we got the homepage again. And this is the UK homepage. So for this one, we got the homepage 3 different times. I guess because it iterated through multiple international sites. That's not very normal. And it's not necessarily a problem if we get things like that every now and again. To avoid that, you know, you can add a filter here to make sure that it's filtering out .co, .uk, things like that. So you're only getting one true site. I don't think it's really necessary. Usually the homepage is legitimately enough, but ideally we get 3 pages. But most of the time we will get 3 pages and we won't have some weird international redirect where we're going to get 3 of the home pages just from different countries. Nonetheless, that still gives us some valuable information, which we know that they work internationally. And then I'm going to aggregate this data. And then it's just going to be, what the heck? What the heck, dude? Why is it? What is going on here? Expression maybe? What? This is so freaking annoying. Every single time this is gonna piss me off. I don't know if you guys can see what's happening on your side, but every time I type, so C goes out of it. Oh, maybe I re-click into it. Nope. God damn, that's annoying. Here, I copy and paste this. Boom. Message that content that extract. All right. And then wait node. And now we're going to get to our last ChatGPT. OpenAI. Messaging model. And I don't know, we'll do GPT-5 mini again. And we're just going to say, hey, you're helpful, intelligent sales assistant, right? Because at the end of the day, this is a sales email. System. And again, I'm going to copy and paste because this is a behemoth of a prompt. Cool. So I'm just going to scroll through this really quickly and you guys can copy it as you go. Gonna make this an expression too. So this gives a profile example of another person. And then it tells it what the website's all about. And this is essentially a reference, right? This is a benchmark for it to work off of. And so this one's about Maki. And so it's able to look at the different information from the Maki website or the Maki template so that I can use that in our next user down here. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I just realized that I mixed up the direction of these prompts. So the first one is actually the one saying what we've done, right? We've scraped a series of websites of a page, blah, blah, blah. This is the page name. Your task is to summarize them, turn them in the rest of imply that the rest of the campaign is personalized. You'll turn icebreaker email, yada, yada, icebreaker. This is an example of the icebreaker. So if you want to change how this AI actually creates the emails, this is the part you change. And so let's see, what does this one have to say? This one is going for the cold email campaign. So we can keep that the same for right now. But you basically just change this prompt right here, this part of the prompt, to whatever service or product you're trying to offer. Make sense? Cool. All right, and then we're going to give it another example. And this is also what you change. So you change this and that. So you change it in 2 places, and this is going to be assistant this time. And then lastly, a user, and this is going to be the content that we're actually feeding into it. So this is the person's profile, and this is their website. So you can see they get the headline as well, so you have a little bit of personal information about them, and then you have all the information about the website, and it uses that to make the customized message. And let's see, simplify output, good. Output content as JSON, that's exactly what we want. And then we also want to do retry on fails, right? Because sometimes this thing will fail. So I do 3 and for 5,000 milliseconds. And then we're going to do this. Oops. Going to do copy C, copy V. And then we're going to add an if note here. And this is going to track if that fails. So all we do for this one, it'll be exclamation point JSON dot error. And then we just do Boolean is true. So if there's an error, it falls to this. If there's not, we just push through the last of our flow, which is going to be another edit fields or another set node. And I guess I'll run these 2 so we can see how it looks. Oh God, I have to run that model again. Oh, that's gonna take so long. I might need to change it from 5 mini because 5 mini is not quick. It's a thinking model. 5 is a thinking model, and so I might want to do 4 because now that I'm thinking about it, look how long it's taking. It's still thinking, it's still thinking, it's still thinking. That was quite a while. So I'm gonna do maybe 4 turbo. We'll try that. Okay. Either way. Oh, you son of a bitch. Alright, well I'm just going to execute the entire flow all the way up to this point then. Or, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll just actually complete the flow. And then, so I'm just going to hard code this bad boy. I'm just going to copy and paste them for the sake of time. Okay, so you just see your ID is going to be the edit fields from prior downstream in our flow, upstream from upstream in our flow. And then icebreaker is just going to be the icebreaker. So it's going to be json.messages.content.icebreaker. Since they're not going to be specific to either of these nodes. So if it's coming from this one, it flows in. If it's coming from this one, it flows in. But it'll really pretty much never go to that one. It's just there as an error handler because if ChatGPT breaks, your entire flow stops. And so good to have that if you're handling thousands of data sets. Okay, and I'm going to copy and paste some more here for the update row and sheets. And you see here it's just json.id. match by ID, and then JSON.icebreaker right here. And I'm not going to show the top of this one because that would mean that I'd have to create a new API key. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the rough outline of it. And then I'm going to just paste in the one that actually works so nobody gets to see it. And you guys should be able to follow along with that. So let's take a look. So what we have here is we're doing post because we're posting to instantly. And then this is the API endpoint where you're adding to the leads. And then your authorization, it's going to be this bear. And then your campaign, when you go to instantly, is going to be the numbers. Campaigns. It's pretty good. Really high open rate. Apply rate's not so good. Gotta fix that. So it's gonna be this. This is gonna be your campaign. So you just paste that in there and then you're good to go. For my purposes, I'm actually not gonna do that because I don't need a new campaign. I don't need these leads going anywhere. But I guess I'll just leave it out then. But that will work 100% of the time. And so I will show it going into the sheets and everything like that. That is what I will show. So email, it's going to be at a fields personalization. That's where your icebreaker is going to go. And you'll be able to call that in the sequence here, personalization. And then you're going to go first name, last name, website, company name, skip if in campaign, true. Include response headers and status, auto detect. So what this will do is it'll automatically deduplicate as well as include all the pertinent information about your lead into your campaign under the leads tab right here. So that basically all the people that flow through this flow are going to get added to that campaign. No one will be deduplicated. And there you have it. You have mass, cold, scalable outreach via email. And you got to imagine that if you're sending, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 of these emails, it's hard to believe that you wouldn't get at least a few sales. And if you have a rather high converting and high impact offer, or if you have a very high ticket offer, then really one sale is all you need to make this system make sense, right? Because the Apollo is about $1,000, the Instantly is about $1,000, and then all the other ancillary services that go along with it are probably, a couple bucks per month. So you're all in roughly a little bit over $2,000 per year. And so as long as you get one sale, for most of us, one sale should really fill that, gosh, I just can't think today. It'll make it so it's worth it, right? Because then any other sales on top of that is just gravy. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. Just going to delete that. And we're going to add another Google Sheets, lead and campaign. We don't need any of this. Get out of here. All right. And all this does is says yes. It just says yes, the lead's in campaign now, and it reflects the date. And then so we're gonna go this all the way back here. Cool. If you want to make it look nice, you can also, work things around. Go here. There you go. Good enough. All right, let's see how this bad boy works. So there we go. Let's go into that one. Geez, Turbo might be longer than 5 mini. Cool, we're about to get there. Hang on now. Oh, stupid. All right. ID, it's fine. It was in the wrong Google Sheets. Oops, whatever. Let's see, should be personalization, icebreaker. It's fine. Lead in campaign. Same deal, we have to mess this around because I stole this from my other flow. Nice, let me refresh this. Fresh column list. Should be good. Sometimes it lets us switch around like that where we go sample database people and then it just works automatically. I am gonna add this and switch it to here because I don't know, it seemed kind of funky. JSON.id actually should just work fine too, so let me just normalize that to be JSON.id. Okay, cool. Very cool. So that should work. Okay, final test part 2. Also interesting that it stopped there. I wonder what that's all about. 36 items. Loop, done. How we coming? Okay, almost there. Money shot, come on. Nice. Okay, so here we go. Hey, however the heck you say that name, Ganana Jerome, love KKBC, learning. I'm also a fan of multi-marketing Langer playbooks. Want to run something by you. I hope you forgive me, but I creeped your site quite a bit. And I know that hiring for rapid growth is important to you guys, or at least I'm assuming this given the focus on career selection and global marketing. I put something together a few months ago that I think could help. To make a long story short, it's a B2B outreach system that uses AI to find decision makers and craft custom emails for each person that feels human. Gosh, just a few cents to run, very high converting, and I think it's in line with KKBC's focus on scalable, measurable growth. So it basically just takes information from this guy's headline and their website and makes a customized email, something like that. And you can customize this way more. You can make it way more personalized or personable, whatever you want. And all that is done just inside these nodes, right? You just kind of edit that and you're good to go. And this thing will run basically in perpetuity. And so you can have thousands of leads be processed a day. I recommend just batching them once per week, just saying, okay, I need, let's say 1,000 companies to get 4,000 leads and I need to send 4,000 emails per week, just dedicate like a Monday or something. Or you can have it running like in the background while you do the rest of your work or watch a show or, cook dinner. It doesn't matter, right? Because it's all automated for you. And then once they're in the campaign, once they're over here, all of the emailing, all of the sequencing, all of the batching to make sure that we're not emailing 1 million people per day, that all gets done for you automatically. But that's it, guys. So we can see here that it's running, it's doing its thing. Sky's the limit here. And so basically just making your titles as good as possible and making the content of your email as good as possible is going to be the way to get the highest converting leads. And so basically just A to B test this, guys. Just keep emailing, keep running this, keep altering things. If you're getting a high open rate, right, then awesome. The title's good. Keep the title. If you're not getting a lot of conversion off the open rate, then maybe you switch up the the body, right? Or maybe you adjust the follow-up campaign, right? There's a lot of adjustments that we can make here. Essentially, it's just fine-tuning it to figure out what your audience wants and what converts your audience. But with that, that's it, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, if you're going to implement it, let me know in the comments if you built it, if you even care at all, or if you want to see me build something else. Always happy to look into other different kind of automations that can help us grow, that can help us. And I hate saying this, increase efficiency, right? Because what does that mean? It's vague as hell. But nonetheless, that's it for me. So like I said, hope you guys found this helpful. If you did, like and subscribe, super help me. Otherwise, catch you later. Cheers.